Hello guys and welcome to Lee from Grow Farm. So, way back in the 90s, don't seem a smidgen away from me, back in the 90s, we had all these greatest gangster movies come out, yeah? Casino, bloody Goodfellas, they're just two to name, but they're the most famous ones. But in 1993, a film come out that I thought was the balls, yeah? And it was called A Bronx Tale. Palomino, I can't say his name properly, I beg your pardon. Sonny, Robert De Niro, Lorenzo, Lilo Bracanto as Colagio, Terrell Hicks as Jane. We even had Joe Pesci in it as Carmine at the end. You remember the old bar scene? Well, you can't go anywhere now, where he locks their bar up and beats the bikers up. Well, it intrigued me, this film. It really did. Because years on, a similar thing happened to me. Like the bar scene. I won't mention where. But yeah, a door got locked and someone got beat up bad, but for the right reason. And we'll leave it at that. A Bronx Tale has got to be one of the best gangster films I've ever seen in my life. But at the beginning, it don't say based on a true story nor nothing like that. Yeah. But I'm going to dissect this film now, because it was more or less based on a true story. So, if you haven't watched the films, if you haven't seen the film, I beg your pardon, spoiler alert. So, as we all know, at the beginning of the film, young Colagio is sitting on a stoop, as they say, out in the States, and an altercation starts over a parking space and a gentleman gets shot by a leading mafia figure who owns a street, shall we say. In the film, the street was run by Sonny, and obviously Sonny shot this gentleman. So the police come and knock on the door, and obviously back in them days, well, you wouldn't do it now, would you? But you don't grass, sort of thing. So Colagio didn't rat out Sonny. But this actually happened to Chaz Palomani. Palomani, I beg your pardon. I can't say his name, I do apologise. This actually happened to him in real life. Now, Chaz has never mentioned who this mafia figure is. In interviews, he's never mentioned who it is. But yeah. So as the story goes on, it's basically bits of his life with this gangster figure, because obviously this gangster figure took him under his wing. So like Sonny took Colagio under his wing. So it would be like Chaz Palomani. This gangster figure took Chaz Palomani under his wing as a young boy, you know, for not ratting him out. So this film, so Chaz Palomani wrote a one-man show back in the 80s, and he went to small hall theatres with it, called A Bronx Tale. And then obviously it got wrote into a film, and it got picked up, and apparently Chaz Palomani thought he was going to get a lesser role in it, even though it was his play and his writing, but it was Robert De Niro that says, no, it's your play. You're going to play the leading man in the film. So he played, obviously, Robert De Niro played the father in the film, and Chaz Palomani played the leading role as the gangster in the film, Sonny. Yeah, but it is one hell of a film. But I really didn't know that it was actually based on Chaz Palomani's life. Obviously, there's some bits in it that was directly what's called, you know, like the coloured and all that, like Colagio meeting the coloured woman, Jane, That never happened. And you know, like the bar fight scene, that never happened. And there's a few other bits that never happened. But apparently there was another bit in it, but that actually did happen. Chaz Palomani did say in an interview that did actually happen, and that's where in the film, because young Collagio was earning some money, he was earning a bit more money than his dad, because his dad was a bus driver, and he was earning a lot more money because obviously he was hanging around with the gangsters and stuff like that as a kid, you know, because he and this actually happened, where his dad went down to this gangster gentleman, took the money and went, look, we're not having your money, thank you. Because his dad in real life was a hard-working man. He had nothing to do with the mafia and nothing like that. He was a bus driver, you know. He'd done everything legit. His dad and his mum, you know, there was a legit family, you know. Yeah, they had a bit of an argument in this pub, because there was arguing about the money, because Chaz had earned this money off these gangster fellas, and his dad was giving it them back, and this is in the film also. And yeah, he was giving him the money back, and they were saying, no, we're not accepting it, that's like your lad's money, you know, he's earned it, sort of thing. And he says, no, we're not having your money, you know. And a big altercation happened, and the only reason nothing happened to his dad, because obviously if it was anybody else, whether it being the mafia, you know, mouthing off at the big boss, you know, something would have happened. The only reason nothing happened to his dad was because of young Chaz. That's the only reason why nothing happened to his dad. Yeah. So apparently that's what I've read and heard. So how true that is, I don't know, you know, but that's what it, you know. And also at the end of the film, Sonny gets shot, but this gangster did not get shot. He actually died in prison. So yeah, so that is the story of A Bronx Tale. If you ever get the chance to watch it, guys. What a film. I think it beats, I know the Goodfellas and you know, Casino, I know they're all based on real life stories and all that. This is as well. In a sense, I know there's a lot of writing differences in this film, writing creativities in it, but Casino and Goodfellas, I know they've spot on, ain't they? in what happened in them films. But this is like dressed up, you know. But what a film! What a film! Yeah. And that Chaz Palomani is supposed to be an absolute lovely man. Lovely man. He's gone on to do brilliant films. Chaz Palomani, you know, he's been in quite a few gangster films and stuff like that, you know. He was in The Craze, you know. Yeah. Not The Craze. Yeah, it was The Craze. I'm trying to think what it's called now. That last one that they've done with Tom Hardy. He was in that. That Chaz Palomani. Yeah. But good old 1993. What a film. What a film. Yeah, and it all started with a one-man show. And I actually watched that one-man show on YouTube the other day. So if you get the chance, it's on YouTube. Yeah, sit and watch it. It's good. It's good if you get the chance. But yeah. Anyway, folks, you take care, and I'll catch up with you all again soon. Stay lucky. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay lucky, folks.